There are so many different types of brush pens out there that it can be hard to decide which one is best for you. In this video, I am going to be going through the 8 different types of brush pens and which one I recommend for beginners. The first 2 brush pens we're going to look at are different because of their size. So the Tombow dual brush pen that I have right here has a fairly large brush tip, and you can see right here the size of the strokes that this pen can make. The Pentel SignTouch pen is a smaller brush pen. You can see the size of the tip right here. It's pretty small, and you can see that it makes a lot smaller of calligraphy strokes than the Tombow dual brush pen did. Now we're going to talk about the material that the brush tip is made of. So there are 2 main types of materials: felt-tipped pens and bristle-tipped pens. So the Tombow dual brush pen that I mentioned earlier is an example of a felt-tipped brush pen. A felt-tipped pen is shaped like a paintbrush, but it does not have individual hairs. It is one solid brush tip, if that makes sense, but it is still flexible. I have here an Arteza brush pen, and this is an example of a bristle tip on a pen. You can see that the brush is made up of basically individual hairs, like a real paintbrush. This one is a little bit frayed, so you're definitely going to see that texture of the bristles when you are writing. Another aspect of brush pens is their flexibility. So right here you can see I have a hard-tipped brush pen. This is one of the Tombow Fudenosuke pens, and then the Arteza brush pens right here are going to be a lot more flexible. In fact, I would say they're too flexible to really be able to do calligraphy. Bristle-tipped pens are generally going to be more flexible than felt-tipped pens, but you can definitely have flexible pens with a felt tip. Like the Tombow dual brush pen is definitely more of a flexible pen than the Fudenosuke, but that is just something to keep in mind. Generally, the bristle pens will be a lot more flexible, and the reason why I wouldn't recommend the Arteza brush pens is because of the flexibility, like I mentioned. And when you have a pen that is super flexible, then you have a lot less control over the strokes, and it just makes it a lot harder to write with. The last aspect I wanted to talk about is ink type. So there are 2 main ink types for calligraphy brush pens. The first is water-based ink, and the second is pigment ink. So water-based ink is going to be more likely to fade, and the pigment ink is going to be more permanent and long-lasting, fade-proof, stuff like that. So overall, my favorite brush pen to do calligraphy with is the Tombow dual brush pen, and like you saw in the video, this one has a larger tip, so you get some really thick bold strokes with it, but then you can also make thin strokes like you can see right here. So you definitely have the variation of the strokes with this pen. It's more flexible than a Fudenosuke pen, but it's not too flexible that it is hard to write with, so I just like the flexibility aspect of that. This pen actually comes with 2 tips. We have a brush pen tip, and then it also has a marker tip on the other end. It is also a felt-tipped brush pen, like I mentioned earlier in the video, and then it is water-based ink. So I do wish that these pens were more permanent, but I overall have just been really happy with these pens. If you are going to be doing like custom work for people, then I would recommend finding a pen that has the pigment ink, just so that it won't fade for your clients and it's long lasting. But anyways, yeah, that is it. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope you found it helpful just going into the 8 different types of brush pens. And I would definitely appreciate it if you would consider liking this video and subscribing, and you can comment below if you found this video helpful.